If you are building a SaaS business and you are navigating what I call the shawshank crawl to get to that promised land, to get to the product market fit and get to that next stage of growth, I've been there. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact framework I've used in every SaaS business I've worked on or advised to actually navigate that path and accelerate your path to product market fit. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK. On this channel, I help startup founders like you navigate the path to getting to product market fit, getting to that next stage of growth with an unstoppable strategy. I drop a video like this every single Sunday. So if you're new, welcome. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you get notified when I drop a video like this every single Sunday. Now, if you're a startup founder and you're navigating that path to product market fit, I call it the shawshank crawl. It's the worst thing to go through, but also the best thing because it makes or breaks your startup. Having done this a few times, I took Kader, my last company, from 0 to 7 million ARR, and having actually advised other SaaS companies to actually navigate this path, I follow a very specific framework to actually navigate it in the right way. So on this video, I'm going to do three things for you. Number one, I'm going to explain the origins of this framework, how this came together. Number two, I'm going to explain the 5 key SaaS metrics that actually drive it. And number three, I'm going to explain how you can actually adopt this. If you're excited to dig in, go ahead and hit that like button, smash it if you like. It helps us out, helps you out, spreads the word, and let's get started. Now, the origins of this framework actually comes from two very important ideas. The first idea was popularized by a guy named Jim Collins. He calls it the flywheel effect. He says that every single business, whether it's a SaaS business or not, has a natural flywheel. They have a certain flywheel. Every successful one identifies that flywheel, identifies the core components in that flywheel, and optimizes for it so that it goes faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. Jim Collins first wrote the book Good to Great, which you can check out by following the link below. And then he wrote the follow-up to that. It's not quite a book, he calls it a monogram. It's called Turning the Flywheel. You can check that out. Also, I'll link to it below. In this book, he highlights that if you can actually identify what is the flywheel that drives your business, and you can identify the key components that really drives it and makes it go faster and faster, and you make decisions to actually optimize for it, then you can build a successful, fast-growing business. This idea is so powerful. Jim Collins personally coached the executive team at Amazon to develop their flywheel very early on. And he saw how they took that idea and ran with it. And it's pretty self-explanatory on how successful Amazon is today. The second idea was introduced nearly 12, maybe 13 years ago on this video, I'll link to it below, by a guy named Dave McClure. He started 500 Startups. He was one of my first investors. And he introduced this idea of pirate metrics. He said that there are very specific set of metrics that you really want to optimize for if you're looking to grow your startup. Instead of trying to think like, oh, we need to get to product market fit and it being this very nebulous thing, he said, here are the 5 key metrics that you actually need to follow that will allow you to measure and focus on the right areas of this business. And that I kind of ran with. I took those two ideas and I said, all right, every business has a natural flywheel and there are components to that flywheel that you need to identify. And if I'm working on a SaaS business, Dave McClure says these are the 5 metrics. And so when you combine the two, you get the most powerful framework that you'll ever find in driving and navigating the path to the next stage of growth and product market fit for your SaaS business. So at this point, you might be wondering, all right, those are the origins. That's how you came up with the idea. What are the metrics? How do I use it? How does this flywheel work? Let's dig in. So when you think about a flywheel and your SaaS business, the best way to think about it, obviously, is you've got your flywheel right here. And at the core of it, you have your ICP. That's your ideal customer profile. Now, if you don't have an ICP yet, if you haven't honed in on an ideal customer profile, you should check out this video that I did on it. I'll link to it below. Let's keep going and you can check it out after this. Once you have your ICP, that's your customer, you start to build out the components of your flywheel. The components of your flywheel will actually determine what areas you want to focus on and tweak. And if you tweak those things, it'll lead from one thing to another and one thing to another, and it'll make the whole flywheel go faster and faster and faster. And if you can optimize for that, then you've got a massively successful business. And in your case, you've got a massively successful SaaS business. This is where part 2 comes in. Part one is the flywheel, which Jim Collins came up with. And then part two are the core metrics of every SaaS business that you just got to monitor when you're thinking about marketing it and growing it. What are those metrics? Well, let's put them down. So basically we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 metrics. And when you think about those 5 metrics, the most important metric is you have your ideal customers. These are your ideal customers and they don't know about you at this state. And in the flywheel, the first part is acquisition. The second part is activation. And I'll explain what each of these are. The third one is revenue. Fourth one is retention. And the fifth one is referral. And that's how you get AARRR. And the beauty of these 5 metrics is they all build on one another. Meaning you can go and acquire a person to come into your SaaS app, but that doesn't necessarily mean they'll activate. So when you actually acquire someone, that means they become a user. They become a user and they're like, all right, I actually want to use this application, put me in the demo, let's jump into it. Then you measure activation. Activation means they take a meaningful set of steps to actually move forward in the process. Meaning if they just register and then they leave and they never come back, they never activate it. But for example, for ToutApp, activation for us was they did 3 things. 1, they actually sent a test email. Number 2, they installed our Chrome plugin to plug into Gmail. And number 3, they actually opened up our live feed. If they did those 3 things, then we considered themselves activated because we're like, all right, we got a hook in there. They got a full experience. So you got acquisition and then you've got activation. From activation, you then have revenue. Now, there are different types of SaaS businesses. Sometimes they'll do freemium, so they start using the product for free and then you upsell them. Other times you do a trial. But the whole point is you want to see how many people you acquire, how many of them actually get activated, and out of those, how many people actually convert to revenue. Once you've done that, obviously the next one is retention. There's a reason why SaaS businesses command such a high premium for investors and also even in the public markets. It's because of this retention piece. Most businesses sell a customer a widget and then say thank you and then hope that they'll get business again. With SaaS businesses, they know they're going to get a predictable amount of revenue, hopefully if churn is not high, all the time, forever. And that's really powerful because now you have a consistent relationship with the customer, getting a predictable flow of revenue coming in. And so you really want to figure out what your retention is. And then finally, if you actually acquire a user or a customer or a client, whatever you call them, and then they activate, and then they convert to revenue, and then they keep using it, and then they love it so much, they start telling other people about it, either through word of mouth or through some referral system or through some invitation system, whatever it may be, or they invite a team member in. That is referral. And when you do that, something magical happens. Because they're referring, if the other person that's being referred actually says yes, then it goes back into your ICP and goes back into acquisition. What this means is that now you've got a flywheel. And these 5 metrics, if you optimize for them, it means that you've got an optimized flywheel that will go faster and faster and faster. Let me explain. The power in this is the fact that you're going to track each of these metrics separately. You're going to track what percentage of people actually go from being acquired to actually being activated. You're going to track what percentage of people that activate actually convert to revenue. And you're going to track out of the people that convert to revenue, what percentage of them actually go to retain themselves. And from retention, you're going to track what percentage of them actually go to refer people. And out of that, you're going to track how many of those referrals actually turn back into acquisition. This is the flywheel of every SaaS business. And these 5 metrics are what governs that flywheel. If you can start to tether yourself to this flywheel and these 5 metrics, if you start to make decisions on how you actually optimize each of these core metrics, and if you start to actually move these metrics in the right direction, then you can optimize the flywheel and you can navigate that path to product market fit. And that means you can accelerate that path to that next stage of growth. If you're starting to see the brilliance of this, so instead of just willy-nilly doing all kinds of crazy things and thinking that you're just one feature away from product market fit, but instead you tether yourself to this framework and these set of metrics and keep optimizing, then you get to operate the two levers that matter most for you as a startup founder. You either ship code or close deals. I even made a t-shirt about it. Ship code, close deals. Because you'll actually look at these key metrics, you'll be able to say, all right, are we closing more deals or do we need to ship code to actually impact one of these metrics? And you get out of that death trap of thinking you're just that one extra feature away from really making everything work. But instead you can say, well, we need to improve acquisition, or we need to improve activation, or we need to improve revenue. You can actually hone in one of those areas and operate the lever appropriately, whether you need to close deals or ship code based on every client interaction. You're starting to see the brilliance in this. Can I just get a yes in the comments below? I want to make sure you're with me on this. So this is the framework that I've used for nearly a decade and a half in being in SaaS businesses. It has never failed me, and I've used it in multiple stages. I used it in the early days of ToutApp, I used it in the middle days of ToutApp, I used it in the late days of ToutApp. It always helped me really get visibility into where we are and what we needed to improve. It is incredibly powerful, and I hope you start to adopt it. Now, you may have questions around, well, how do I track acquisition? And what does activation really mean? And how do you think about revenue versus a lead? I'm gonna do a video where I dig into each of these SaaS metrics as my next video. I'm gonna dig deeper into how to really implement this and how to actually measure this and what the right benchmarks are for this. So be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon now so you get notified when I drop that episode next Sunday. Now you know how to navigate this whole crazy Shawshank crawl to product market fit. Figuring out the SaaS metrics for your SaaS business model is just one part of it. To get to product market fit, you also have to figure out your ICP, you have to figure out your sales process, your marketing process, your market strategy, your go-to-market strategy. As technical founders, which I work with a lot of startup founders that are more technical than sales-oriented, we tend to over-index, I'm like that too, or I used to be. We tend to over-index on product strategy, and we don't put as much effort on market strategy and go-to-market strategy. And if you start to level up on all three of those, you can actually accelerate your path and actually increase the likelihood of hitting product market fit. This is why, if you want to dig into this, this is why I created my Unstoppable Product Market Fit Guide. In my Unstoppable Product Market Fit Guide, I actually go into detail on how to actually incorporate these metrics and how to actually incorporate a market strategy and product strategy and a go-to-market strategy so you can actually take this to market and accelerate your path to product market fit and to the next stage of growth. So be sure to download that. The link is below. You can download it for free and you can check it out. And it'll also include a special link to talk to me one-on-one if you want to dig into your startup more. Lastly, if you like this video and got value from it, please hit the like button. It really means the world to me and my team. We put a lot of effort into this, and it also helps us spread our message here at Unstoppable. If you are part of a Slack group, a private mailing list, whatever collaboration platform you're on with other startup founders that can get value from this video, please share it. It would mean the world to us as well. And if not, just share it with your favorite founder that you just love. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy. But when you're with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you next Sunday.